everybody. My name is Mars. You can call me MG if you would like. Today is Friday, May 3rd. It is about 9:30 in the morning, and I've decided that this weekend I'm just gonna read a bunch of Animorphs books because why not? My journey with Animorphs started quite recently, actually. I didn't really read them as a kid. I was a Magic Treehouse kid, honestly. But last year, I think around this time, the Nostalgia Train Book Club picked the first Animorphs book to be the monthly book, and I read it and really enjoyed it. I read the second one at some point last year, and then I finally got around to book 3 just last month, maybe the month before, but like very recently. And I was like, you know what? I can't be doing this so slowly. There are 54 books in this series, and if I want to make my way through them, I can't just read one every couple of months. So I'm like, you know what? Let's take a weekend. In this case, it's a long weekend because I'm starting this on Friday, and we're gonna knock out a few of them. My plan is 7 books. So if you see my reading journal here, this page, it's very colorful because I took the colors from the covers of the Animorphs books, which are all so colorful and I love them. And I've just got a little space to write a sentence or two about each one because they're not super long books, and I feel like I'm not going to have a ton to say about each one. So just a couple of sentences about my thoughts as I get through them feels like the right move. So if you don't know what the Animorphs is a series written by K.A. Applegate, which is a pseudonym for the married couple of Catherine Applegate and Michael Grant, who are both children's slash middle grade authors of pretty great fame. I feel like everyone who's read books for younger kids has read from at least one of them, and they came together to write this series that's about this intergalactic war. It follows 5 kids. We have Jake, who is like the leader of the group. We have Marcus, one of those. He's kind of like he's a little bit the funny guy, but he's also like the one that complains a lot, but he still always goes along with his friends in the end. We have Cassie, whose parents run a like animal vet type of thing for like exotic animals. So like they take care of eagles and lizards and all this stuff when they are injured. We have Rachel, who is Jake's cousin, and she's kind of like the nice, preppy, popular girl, but she's also not afraid to tell it how it is. And we have Tobias, who is kind of an outcast, and he isn't really completely part of this friend group until the start of the series when we get the inciting incident, but that really cements his place in the friend group. The inciting incident is when these 5 kids are walking home from the mall one day through this abandoned construction site, as one does, and they interrupt this battle between aliens. So, on one side of this war that's been going on for eons, we have the Andalites, and they are described as these blue creatures that have bottom half like a deer, top half like humans, but then their face is different. They don't have mouths, and they have 4 slits for a nose, and they also have extra eyes on stalks on the top of their head. And they are the good guys. Then we have the bad guys, who are the Yeerks, Yeerks. It's a very ugly word, and they are these little slug-like creatures who crawl into your ears and take over your brain and basically just are parasites, and their goal is to enslave the entire universe. And there are several planets and entire alien races that they've already taken over, and we get to see a few of those different alien races in the series. And this Andalite guy, he is dying, and he's like, listen, backup isn't showing up for a long time, and if you don't want the Yeerks to completely take over Earth and the human race, you need to try and stop this because you are the only people who know what's going on Earth right now. So he gives these 5 kids the power of morphing, hence Animorphs. They can morph into animals, and they use this power to fight the Yeerks, and a lot of stuff happens. Is there Anything else? There's some stuff you should probably know. So, spoiler alert if you don't want to know going into this series anything about it, but the biggest thing is that if you morph for longer than 2 hours, you will be stuck in that animal's body forever. And in the first book, this happens to our dear friend Tobias. He is permanently in the form of a red-tailed hawk, and he can still communicate with his friends because when you're in the animal form, you can communicate telepathically. So at least there's that. But he is no longer a human boy. He's a human boy trapped in the body of a red-tailed hawk. Um, there are several people in the lives of these children that they know are being controlled by Yeerks. Most importantly is the principal of their school, and also Tom, who is Jake's older brother. So, lots of conflict there, but it's a really good series so far. It's kind of disgusting, especially the scenes where they describe the morphing. It's really gross, but like also kind of cool. I don't know. I like that sort of stuff. I'm very much into body horror, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I am going to take these couple of days and read through the next set of books. I figured 7 is a good number because I've already read 3, and reading 7 in a couple of days is not going to overwhelm me, and it'll also get me to 10, which is a nice stopping point, I think. It's just a nice round number. Um, but yeah, that's my plan basically. So I guess I will come back and update you after I read each book, and I'll let you see the updates I put in my reading journal. So I guess I'm going to get reading. Okay, it has been about 2 hours, and I've finished reading the fourth Animorphs book, and this one was a really good one. It's from Cassie's POV, and she and Tobias start having these weird dreams about the ocean and a voice calling out to them. And when talking about it with their friends, they're like, "We think this is an Andalite who is calling out to us." So some stuff happens. They acquire DNA from dolphins in order to morph into them, because that's how morphing works, is they kind of, you have to touch the animal and kind of put them in a trance, and you kind of like absorb their DNA so you can turn into an exact copy of that specific animal. And they turn into dolphins, they fight some sharks, befriend some whales, escape from some of the Yeerks, and they rescue this Andalite who they call Axe. The Andalites have very long names, and so they just get nicknames. And turns out Axe is the younger brother of the Andalite who gave these kids the power to morph in the first book. He had been left behind during this battle because he was too young, and then his ship crashed to Earth, and he's been waiting for someone to rescue him, and these kids do. He lets them know that there's a year at least until the backup arrives to help save Earth, probably closer to 2 years, and obviously that freaks everyone out because it's just now, I guess, the 6 of them up against the Yeerks until backup arrives. Um, Another weird thing that happens is, in order to kind of like blend in more, the Andalite Axe acquires the DNA of the 4 of them, not Tobias because he's a hawk now, but the 4 who still have human forms, and kind of morphs into an amalgamation of them. So he's got like Cassie's skin tone, but Marco's hair and all this stuff. It's really weird, but I'm very excited to see where things go. I'm gonna take a break from reading for a little bit, get some lunch. I have a package that was delivered. I ordered some books and they came in the mail. There's also a book sale going on at my local library, so I'm gonna walk over there for a little bit and maybe buy some books from them. We'll see. Um, yeah, I will see you guys in a little while after I take a little bit of a break from reading. Hello, friends. It is almost exactly 6 p.m. I think it's like 6:02 p.m. And I have finished reading The Predator, which is book 5 in the Animorphs series. I've got quite a bit to catch you up on. I did, in fact, go to my library's book sale after I finished reading book 4, and I got 6 books and I'm very excited about them. I did film a little clip of me hauling them, which is going to be part of my May Chaos Reign vlog, which should come out the first week of June. So subscribe and stay tuned if you want to see that. But that was a nice little trip out of the apartment, and I also got an iced coffee while I was out. It was lavender and peppermint, which was interesting but very delicious. And then I came back and had lunch, chilled for a little bit, and then I read book 5. And this one was good. I think I liked book 4 a little bit more. This one was rough going into it because I'm not the biggest fan of Marco's POV. I like him as a character, but I don't like being in his point of view very much. Now that I've read from the 5 POVs, I can say that Cassie is my favorite. And Marco might be my least favorite. I don't know, I don't really remember the first 3 POVs very well because I've read them over the past year, but yeah, Marco's not my favorite character to be in the head of, but he's not terrible. And this book, we go on a little adventure trying to put together this like distress signal thing, like a little radio thing to send out a distress signal, because the plan is to trick the Yeerks into sending down one of their ships so that Axe can like kind of take it over and fly to his homeworld and convince them to get to Earth faster. But they are ambushed and taken aboard this Yeerk ship, like the big mothership, which the description kind of reminds me of the ships that the Mind Flayers have in Baldur's Gate. Well, I guess it's not just in Baldur's Gate, but like that's what I'm picturing it from, the Nautiloids, because it's got like tentacles and stuff. And while they're there, we find out who Visser 1 is. So like the big bad of the series so far has been Visser 3. Visser is like a military title for the Yeerks, and Visser 3 is the only person to, or I guess only Yeerk, I don't know if they can be considered people, to have control of an Andalite body. And Visser 1 is higher ranking because it's 1 as opposed to 3. And we find out that the Yeerk that is Visser 1 is controlling Marco's mom, which is wild. I was kind of shook, didn't expect that, because Marco's mom died 2 years ago. She went out on a boat, and it said that she drowned, but her body was never collected. And we find out now that that's because it was taken over by a Yeerk, and holy crap, that adds another layer to things. I'm really curious to see how that goes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try and read one more tonight, and that will be 3 out of my goal of 7, which is a good start for my weekend of reading Animorphs. So that's going to be fun. I'm very much looking forward to that. I will update you after I've read that one more. Hopefully it's tonight, but we'll see what I get up to. So I will see you then. Okay, I'm back once more, and it is just before 9 p.m., and I have finished Animorphs book 6, my 3rd Animorphs book of the day. Definitely my last. I'm tapping out here. I'm glad I set 7 as my goal for these 3 days, because I think reading 2 tomorrow and 2 Sunday is going to be perfectly acceptable, like the right number. 3 is a little much. This one, very rough to get through. So it's Jake's perspective. He's the person we follow in the first book, and at first I was like kind of not feeling it, because these books are not really meant to be binged. They're very repetitive. In the beginning it's always just like, my name is insert name of whoever's narrating this book, I can't tell you who I am, blah blah blah. They explain how they got the morph powers and how they work and who the Yeerks are and all that, and I guess it's so that you can like pick it up wherever, or like you don't have to have recently read the previous book to understand. I don't know, but it does get kind of boring because it's so repetitive in that way, but like I get it. Though we got into the actual story of this one, and it's wild. So they find out that this new hospital is being controlled by the Yeerks, and the Yeerks it is, are planning on getting one of their little wormy bodies into the mind of the governor. The governor, who is going to be at this hospital for surgery, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna control him. And this governor is also running for president, so if they succeed, they would eventually potentially become the president of the United States, which is terrifying for the humans. So they obviously have to stop that. So they break into this hospital and they find a miniature Yeerk pool. I don't know if I explained that, but basically the Yeerks, the little slug guys, have to soak in these pools once every 3 days, or else they'll shrivel and die. The pools are full of these like rays that are like their home planet's sun, and it gives them all their nutrients and stuff. But while they are dismantling it, they're like making it short circuit so it overheats and electrocutes the Yeerks inside. Jake accidentally falls into this pool, and a Yeerk crawls into his ear and takes over his brain, and not any Yeerk, it's the one that had been controlling his brother this whole time. But this Yeerk had that was my boyfriend sneezing. This Yeerk had recently been promoted, so a different Yeerk is now in Tom's brain, and this one crawls into Jake. And like reading this part where it's like in his head and he can't do anything, like he's being controlled, but he's still very present of everything happening, genuinely like giving me the heebie-jeebies. Like it's so well written. But they do manage to wait out the 3-day time period, and this Yeerk ends up drying up and dying. But like Jake is very obviously shook by this because of his new experience. Guys, we're only 6 books into this 54 book series, and like it's already so wild. I genuinely can't wait to continue on. It's crazy. But I am going to put my laundry away and then eat some popcorn and play Animal Crossing for the rest of the night. So I will see you tomorrow once I have gotten into book 7. So I'll see you then. Okay, friends, it is just past 7 p.m. on Saturday, and I finished Animorphs book 7. I know, it has been most of the day already, and I've only read one of the 2 that I was hoping to get done today. I have an explanation. This morning I read most of it, but I also had to do a lot of cleaning around the apartment because people were coming to tour, and then my boyfriend and I went out to hang out with some friends, and we were out of the apartment for 6 hours, and then it was raining when we came back, and we had to park pretty far away, so we had to walk back to the apartment in the rain. And then I came in, and I'm like, you know what? I need a shower, so that's why my hair is like this. And then I read the last few chapters of this book, and now I'm here to update you. So that's my excuse for why it's so late. This one was weird. We were in Rachel's POV, and I really like how these kids are dealing with like this war with all these aliens and like trying to save the world, but they're also dealing with normal kid stuff. Like Rachel's parents are divorced, and in this book her dad gets a job in a different city and is moving, and she has to decide whether she's going to stay and live with her mom and sisters or go live with her dad in this other city. Ultimately she decides to stay because this is where all of the Yeerk stuff is happening. But like I like how it has that like more simple personal element to all of their stories. I think that's cool. They kind of meet God in this book. It's not really God, it is an alien called an Elemist, and it's basically this creature that can like see the future and stuff, and the alien is like, hey, we don't think the humans are gonna survive, so I want to take you guys away to basically be on this like not like a zoo, but like a reservation, I guess, a mini Earth with some humans and some other animals and stuff, and like the plants, to like save at least a little bit of Earth culture or whatever. and ultimately they decide not to, and they destroy this thing that the Yeerks need to like set them back. And it's like this whole thing. It was a really weird book compared to the first six. I'm so sorry about the camera going in and out. I don't know why it does that, and I don't know how to stop it, but it's annoying me. So hopefully it's not annoying you though. But yeah, it was an interesting book, and I'm excited to read another one. I'm still trying to hit my goal of 2 for today, and then I'll only have 2 tomorrow. I don't know why my nose is so itchy right now. I think I need to stop filming. So that is my update for book 7. I'll see you probably in a few hours after I read book 8. So see you then. Hello. It is just before 9:30 p.m. and I have finished book 8 of Animorphs. This one was a wild one. First of all, it's not from the POV. Oh god, I have a hair in my mouth. Sorry about that. It's not from the POV of any of the 5 main children. It's from Axe's POV. Axe is the Andalite that they have befriended. They rescued from the bottom of the ocean, and now he's part of the crew. And he's the younger brother of the Andalite that gave the 5 of them the power to morph. So it's from his POV, which I was not expecting, and it's kind of weird. I understand that he doesn't understand human customs, but watching him run around doing stuff is like giving me secondhand embarrassment. It's just, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but we get a lot of what is it called? Backstory in this book. We learn more of why the Andalites and the Yeerks have been at war for hundreds of years, and it's fascinating. Like, I'm so invested in this. You guys have no idea. I'm having a great time. I'm still gonna stop myself at 7 books for the weekend because I don't want to melt my brain. And also, I have other responsibilities this month, both reading and otherwise. So I'm going to probably not read anymore today because I've read 2, and that seems much more manageable than the 3 that I read yesterday. 3 was definitely pushing the limit, but I'm gonna read 2 more tomorrow, and that will hit the 7 goal, get me to the 10th book in the series, and I'll talk to you guys about them, of course. Geez, this has been really interesting. Maybe I'll do this again in the future, like a couple months from now. I'll do another weekend binge. Let me know if you guys would like to see that, because I think that'd be interesting. But for now, I think I'm gonna get ready for bed because I've kind of had a tiring day and I need some sleep. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good afternoon, friends. I almost said morning. It is not morning. It is just before 1 p.m. So good afternoon. 2 things before I get started on the important stuff in this clip. 1, we're gonna ignore the fact that I'm wearing the same sweater as my clips from yesterday. This is my stay home and be comfy sweater, sweatshirt, whatever you want to call it. So the fact that I wore it for a few hours after my shower yesterday is fine. I put it on today because I wanted to stay home and be comfy. Number 2, it's raining really hard outside, so if you hear something weird in the background, that's probably it. Now, on to the reason why you're here, Animorphs. I finished book 9 just now, and I was dozing off while reading it. I'm so tired right now. But, this one was a really interesting one. We're back to Cassie's POV, and this one deals a lot with, like, trauma and exploring the fact that it's traumatizing for the kids to take on the animal forms, and like they kill other creatures while this is happening, and it's just so bizarre how I never realized how dark this series would get because I never read it as a kid. But like it does, it really explores these darker themes and topics, and I think it does it really well. So this was a very interesting book in the series. I really enjoyed this one. It's definitely a higher ranked one, and the fact that Cassie is the POV character helps because I really like her POV. So now I'm gonna take a nap because, like I said, I'm very tired and I almost fell asleep while reading this book. but I will then get to book 10, the last one for this vlog, and get back to you later on once I have read that. So goodbye for now. Good night, I guess, because I'm going to sleep, but it's also not night, so I don't know what I'm saying. I'll see you guys in a little while. Hello. It is 5:30 p.m. and I've finished book 10 of Animorphs. It's called The Android. There is in fact an android in it, and this one was so brutal. Just like there's really only one like fight scene, but it's like probably the worst one so far in my opinion in terms of like gore and violence. It's a really rough one. Also though, this like plot of this book doesn't really have a huge bearing on the plot overall. Like they do get like a little bit of information on some things, but the characters don't really like have a huge moment of things changing and shifting for the rest of the series like they have in the past books. Oh, Chloe has woken up. She might be coming over here. Um, so yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, but I didn't hate it. For now though, I'm gonna end this vlog because I have hit my goal of what I wanted to read for this vlog, and I'm very animorphed out. I think I need quite a break from these books, but we'll see if I end up binging them again. I think I mentioned that I might do this again in the future. We'll see. I will decide that when the future comes. For now, though, I'm going to say goodbye and let you guys go. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!